and good morning to a, well, I would say beautifully sunny day. It's beautiful and sunny, but it's blowing a gale again. So any of you gales out there, welcome. It's that awkward time of year as well, or when the sun comes out, that I really struggle with the light in my craft room. I've got a Velux window and the sun, yes, it's hot, which is wonderful. It's nice and bright, but it plays havoc with the light for crafting. Hey Julie, I see you've had lots of crafting time over the Easter break. I guess this is your second of 2 weeks on holiday now. So I hope you're making the most of the weather and your craft desk. Hi Gail, good morning Christine. Oh Gail, it can't be snowing there. Blooming heck. Hi Christine McAvoy as well. Good morning to Linda. I have on my Met Office forecast a snowflake. I think it's tomorrow at some point, Gail. Last week we had it forecast for now, but I cannot begin to tell you how lovely and sunny it is outside my window. I'm just glad I'm inside because it is extremely cold though, I know. Good morning Liz. Hey Christine Price. I've said Christine before, but hey, no harm in saying hello twice. I hope you've all had a really good Easter weekend. We ate the one and only, well, yeah, kind of the family one and only Easter egg has been well and truly eaten. So I hope you've all had some nice things to eat, maybe over Easter. I tell you what, I've missed actually this Easter. I haven't had hot cross buns. Need to look for some. Okay. Good morning, Caroline. This morning I am going to make 2 cards. I prepped them, I have a feeling, either Thursday or Friday last week. Came to them this morning and thought, oh God, how's I putting this one together? Anyway, we'll see what happens. It might be a quick one this morning. Good morning, Elizabeth. Yes, thank you. I had a good Easter weekend. Have to say it was very much like any other weekend, apart from the chocolate eating. Didn't do anything different or special, but hey, that's the way it goes at the moment. I tidied my craft desk yesterday. Anyway, as the image will show you, I am using Lisa Horton craft dies this morning. I'm using shabby florals and also the large foliage, one of, I think that die, one of those, or 2 of those anyway. In Creative Minds Kind Hearts, we are on a colour challenge month, and today is silver, so I thought I'd make my card for silver today. On a white card blank with a white background, I need to do something silver. So I have 2 different shades of silver, or grey, and a little bit of white. This was a blank card blank, but if I adjust my light here, you will probably see that I have some pencil marks on there. That is part of my planning of the card that I am going to make. I have got bits and bobs here that I'm going to make. I have I always forget, Elizabeth, what you call these, the scalloped nesting dies, something like that. But I love using that as a frame. And I think I have seen that on Facebook already this morning, used in today's Silver and White Challenge. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Natalia. I think I've got most of you so far. So I'm basically going to do a very, very simple card this morning. Just showing you what I've put together for silver and white. Okay, so I'm going to have that as obviously the frame on my card. I have cut out and layered up with 2 silver layers and 1 layer of white card, the small shabby floral dies. And these are great because you can just tease the petals up once they're glued together to give some nice 3D dimension to them. So I have got 3 of those. I learnt from this group to work in threes, or odd numbers at least, 3s, 5s, 7s. Okay, and then I have and I've cut these in a darker shade of silver grey, I suppose you'd call it like more a pewter colour. I have 2 full leaves, oh gosh, 2 stalks, flower stalks, and 1 part leaf that I cut off. Okay, now because I want the flowers to come from behind the frame, this is why I've got pencil marks on here, because I've previously lined up where I actually want the flower stalks to come from. So the pencil marks, even if they show once I've glued down, will be completely covered up by the flowers, so I'm not worried about having to rub those out or anything. I was then looking at, I've got some little dots, and I was thinking this morning, what the heck are these dots for? But the way I think I was actually going to place some of the leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix these on, she says first, but no, it was the leaves first. Okay, what I want with my leaves is to hopefully add a little bit more interest. I'm very good at putting my leaves behind everything else because I think that's where they should be. But in reality, the leaves should be in front of and behind your flower. So that stalk's going to be on there. And I would like this leaf to come out from the back of that stalk somewhere. God, this is not going to plan today. That's going to come out from the back, but I'm not going to stick it all down first because I want some of the leaves to go over the edge of the frame. Okay, I don't want it all to be tucked behind. So I'm only going to stick part of the leaves on. Okay, and they're going about there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick 1/2 of them down. So I'm going to glue with my Cosmic Shimmer. Do you know what? About 30 seconds before I set the camera going, I unblocked the nozzle on here. And whether it's the heat today or something else, I've got a blockage in there. Hopefully that's sorted it out. Okay, so I am going to put just a little bit of glue, and it is so tricky getting it up the stem of the leaves there, but I'm going to do my best just to put a little bit on. Obviously if it seeps out the edges it will dry clear. So very carefully, I know they will go over the edge, I am going to just pop those leaves down. The flowers are going to cover some of them up, but that doesn't matter because that's how it happens in your garden. Okay, so those 3 are stuck down. These I'm going to do a similar way in that they're going to fall over the bottom corner or the bottom edge of the frame. So I'm going to again glue a right tiny amount of glue on these sides. Really should have the tweezers for doing this. Got glue now oozing out of the nozzle of this. I'm going to get very gluey fingers with this. Okay, so these, let's pop them. Oh, I've glued the wrong ones, haven't I? Because I wanted those to go over. Right, let's have a bit of a change of plan and let's just glue those down. I'm going to have to, yeah, think on my feet here and change it up around a little bit. Okay, nothing like keeping you on your toes when you're doing a live. And I'm just going to scrape away a tiny little bit of glue that's come out the side of there. Okay, just going to have a little look at the comments. Glue never stays unblocked, it oozes out. Yeah, I know, it's one thing or another, isn't it, Gail? It never behaves itself. Good morning, Miriam and Alison. Oh, Christine, you haven't made your card for today yet. I can imagine you're probably very well prepared, Christine, and do a lot of things in advance. Okay, right, thicker is the stem on here than on the leaves, so right tiny bit of glue down there. And I am going to roughly place that on there. Okay, and I'm just going to position it so that the stem actually covers where the leaf comes out. Okay, that will still cover up the pencil marks, so that is not a problem. And the other one, gosh, they are so effective, are these leaves and flowers, but by golly they're tricky to stick down. And that one is going somewhere about there, so that's going to stick on there. Now I've got a couple of these leaves that I didn't actually glue down, and because the stems are so thin I am going to glue those. If they were thicker I'd have left them and just let them sort of maybe curl up, but I don't want them to break off anywhere. Okay, so far so good. This is going to go over there. Okay, so this one is going to be an easy one. Sometimes with the frame I will use either foam pads or some cardboard packing to give it a nice 3D effect, like make a shadow box frame if you like. But today it's just going to be stuck straight down. Right, I'm going to fold those in slightly. Okay, got long hair stuck on there as well. Now, using my Cosmic Shimmer, I need to make sure that I get this placed in the right place the first time, because I've got no room for manoeuvre. That looks quite straight to me. Please don't tell me otherwise. You've got a better, more a bird's eye view of this than I have. Okay, so now I can affix those, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to use a foam pad just to give it a really tiny bit of dimension. I'm only going to use really thin ones, but I am going to put foam pad on the back of each of those. Okay, get rid of all the little bits and pieces. Okay, so they just, and then I can, once they're stuck down, I can just, with my fingernail, pull those up and just add a little bit of curl on the top of there. Okay. Flower wise, I'm going to place one away from both of the stalks first, the stems, and then the other two will go on top, so I've got a rough idea where they're going to be. I have one set of leaves left, which I might just pop in the middle of there. Yeah, I might cut those down. Okay. So, nice bit of glue on the back of your flower. These shabby florals are just absolutely amazing. I mean, I know we all have loads of different flower dies of all sizes, shapes, numbers of petals, but I love how these layer up so easily, and when you add different coloured papers or cards, and layer them up, it just makes them so wonderful. Right, that's going to struggle to stick on there for some reason. It's not wanting to stick down. Okay. Probably just needs a little bit of time and a good old press down on there for it to stick. Let's just cut a little bit off the remaining, yeah, perfect, leaves, and again a little bit of glue on each leaf. And that will fit perfectly there, and I'm just going to pop it under the flower petals there. Okay, so I know I did the prep before, it was a little bit of die cutting, there was nothing too tricky about the preparation that I did. 15 minutes and there is my silver and white card for today. I purposely didn't put a sentiment on. I think like so many of us at the moment, because we're sending cards for not necessarily birthdays, just to say hello, I'm thinking about you. Then we get the desperately sad ones where it's a condolence card, but I think an awful lot of us are making cards without greetings on, so that as and when an occasion arises we can find the right greeting that we want and just add it later. But I could easily add something at the bottom in any of the corners. I wondered about any other embellishment, but for my mind I think that's enough on there. It's nice and simple. Okay, so card number 1 done, and the flower, yeah, it has stuck now. I'm going to I will maybe put that under something quite heavy just to make sure that those flowers do actually stick down. Okay, so I hope that's given perhaps an idea for anyone who hasn't yet done their silver and white card, or indeed any other coloured card in the challenge. I thought then what I would do is I would get ahead and I would do tomorrow's card today, and looking at my list it's a red tomorrow, so I am using nested postage slims. Don't use these dies perhaps as much as I should do. I love a DL card though. I am also using Christmas stamps by Strawberry Moon. Yes, it's a Christmas one, folks. I think this is the first time I've actually used these. There's some lovely poinsettia stamps, but I'm not the best at colouring, or it's not the part of the craft that I really enjoy. But I'm using the great big capital C is for Christmas today on my card. Last week I told you all about all these circular scraps of card that I was accumulating, and on next week's live I'm going to do something with some of my scraps, but this is one of the dies that makes the most wonderful circles. When I got this, it's a Craftwork card die, and it was one of the last things that I bought, I think, in terms of Craftwork cards. And when it came and it was all joined together, I'm like thinking, oh God, do I have to take it all apart? And Elizabeth, it was yourself who said to me, why don't you just, you know, really think before you take all the dies apart? So I've kept it whole, and whenever I want to use any part of it, obviously I get a whole different array of different sized circles in different shapes with different edges. So I've used that die previously. I've got lots of bits of the circles left, and today I'm using this bit that was a leftover bit, and I'm going to put that on my red card for today. Yes, I know it's white, okay, however there's the red. I'm on a DL card obviously because I'm using the postage stamps. I have a white base. Turn it sideways because I'm actually doing it that way. I've got a white base. I must have used the outside for something else, and I then have the inside that was left over. I must have made a frame for something because this was left over in my scraps pile, and on that white base I've already done my stamping, and I've got my C is for Christmas, and that is a VersaFine Claire ink in, I'm just having a look to see what colour it is, tulip red. So that's perfect colour for Christmas. And what I'm going to do with these is layer them up. I'm going to add my like circle as a mini wreath and add the poinsettia. Now, I can't remember which way around I was going to do this. Let's see where that card fits. I think I was going to do it that way. I will glue my first bit on, I'm going to give it some dimension. I just can't decide whether to give the bottom bit the dimension or the layered bit. I really should have had a look at this before I put the camera on this morning. I'm going to use it on the bottom. So I'm going to attach the straight edged stitched part of the die cut onto the piece that has like the postage stamp edge. I know these are the only, I've got the ordinary stitched rectangular dies, but I don't have the others from Lisa Horton, but I know there are a number of DL sized dies that she has with different edges. Some of you will have all of them, I know. You need to stamp them onto red card. Oh, the poinsettias could do that, couldn't I? Yeah. God, why didn't I think of that, Gail? I just thought, yeah, brain's not working this morning, obviously, is it? Okay. And Elizabeth, you know I don't like embossing. Good morning to Jane. I think I've said Alison before as well, but if not, hello Alison. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so I've got my mat and layer there. I am going to, I've got some, it's just brown corrugated cardboard. It's quite thin is this piece though. I didn't want it too bulky. And rather than loads and loads of foam pads, which are A, costly and B, not environmentally friendly, if I put that on the back of there, it is going to create the same effect as foam pads, but it will give a lot more rigidity to the card. You should still be able to see quite clearly that there is a 3D element then to the card. And I am going to stick that straight onto the card blank now. Make sure I get that nicely again dead centre. I don't want you to see the top of my head really, so I'm looking at this from a little bit of an angle, which makes it really quite tricky to see if it's straight and central. It might be, no, I think that's okay. And then over at this side I'm going to create the little wreath. So I know it's white on white, but white on white can be very effective. And then we're going to add the splash of colour. Okay, so a tiny bit of glue on there, and that is just about the same size, but just go slightly over the edge of the layered rectangular die, but no problem at all with that. Okay, so I've got my wreath there. I have no idea what brand my poinsettia dies are, but they come as in two parts. I'm sure you've all seen the type of thing. So you get a solid cut out, and then you get another one that has the apertures, the cut out sections. And I'm never actually sure whether I should do these different colours. I need more of a play around with them. So I've got quite a bright red in the larger size. I've got a much deeper red that I'm going to layer in the middle, and then again a smaller bright red one that's going to go there. With hindsight, it's not the best poinsettia die compared to some that I've seen around, but it does the job. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a pull up, the petals. Now the leaves came with the dies again, sorry, no idea whose they were, and cut the leaves out, and it's a green paper with a little bit of flecking, which I like for foliage. And again, I'm one of these really neat tidy crafters, and at a workshop once I saw somebody screw a leaf up like that, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what are they doing? Are they throwing it away? But then when you open your leaf out, It probably doesn't come across all that well. I'm going to just have to see if it comes out on the camera, but you get a lovely crinkled effect to your leaf, just like leaves are. So I'm going to scrunch some of these up so that it gives them some texture and they look more like leaves do in your garden, and certainly poinsettia leaves, because they're always a little bit maybe jagged around the edges or not perfectly formed. I usually have poinsettias in the house at Christmas and I didn't have one this year. Okay, I've screwed that up that well I can't get it opened. So what I want to do is, whilst I'm going to layer up the poinsettia flower, obviously I want the leaves to come out from underneath at different angles. So just layer up, doesn't have to be too precise, because again, flowers that grow in your garden don't necessarily all grow in a really nice, neat, orderly manner, do they? That's going down in that bottom corner, bottom right hand corner there. So in terms of my foliage, I will probably put the leaves overlapping in twos and one maybe over there. So I'm always a bit hit and miss with these. I just like stick them on and hope they're roughly in the right place. Don't need vast amounts of glue on these. Right, stick those two down, make sure that they, yeah, that's going to cover it. Actually, just realising, I bet some of you do this, you probably stick the leaves to the back of your flower, don't you? It's always somebody who does it different. It's probably me today. Being careful to make sure that my leaves do not go over the edge of the card. Okay, poinsettia will still fit on there, and that one could go in there. Okay, so I've got, whilst I've got 5 leaves altogether, but in 3 different positions. So it's not exactly symmetrical, but it will work out. Right, okay. Flower down in there. Good morning, Gail. Yeah, leaves are really tricky to place, aren't they, Gail? Well, I find them so anyway. You can change them around any number of times. Okay, I've just got a little bit of bend in there. Gail, you might have to catch the rest of this up or watch again, because I've about finished this morning. But last but not least, I've got a piece of white candy. I've lost my sticky fixers. There we go. So 1 piece of white candy. I know the centre of poinsettias aren't white, but for the purposes of this and getting it to stand out from the crowd, from the card, piece of white candy in the middle. In days gone by I may have added more glitter to the, well, not more, but some glitter stickles around here, but I'm trying to be a little bit more environmentally friendly, and as much as I love stickles on things, I know a lot of people these days don't necessarily want a card that's got glitter on it, so I am trying to cut down on that a little bit. So that is, you will see this tomorrow, that's my red card. Okay, you don't always need a lot of colour on something, but when you do put your colour on, it's nice that it is seen and it is the colour that sticks out, if that's what you want, your part of your sentiment and your flower. So those are my 2 cards for today, silver and white, and red for tomorrow. So I do hope that you've enjoyed watching. Nothing new in terms of folds today, but sometimes it's nice just to do something a little bit easier, as it were, to see how somebody else puts something together. Maybe it's giving you some ideas that you haven't used before, or try using a different shape of card like the DL card, because they are effective. I do very much like those. Next week I am going to be, yes, as I mentioned, using some of these little scraps up and other just odds and ends that I've had floating around on my craft desk for quite some time. So thank you very much everybody for joining me this morning. I've loved seeing all the coloured cards that have been going on over the last few days. Really looking forward to the rest of the month and seeing different things happening. Gail, I hope it stops snowing. Everybody else, if it's sunny, hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and hope to see you back here again next week. So thank you very much and have a lovely super crafty day. Bye for now.